What's good, y'all? Today we're going to talk about the brunette beauty with a similarly colored brown bustier, Lingsha. I cannot make this up. They took an interesting character and made her brown on brown. That's the Xianzhou drip for you. Luckily, she's going to be one of the best supports to come out of this phase of Honkai Star Rail, which is weird because she's fire abundance instead of preservation. With current trends, that kind of feels illegal. Regardless, today we're going to break down her kit so you can effectively use this charming healer. Let's get into it.
真摯な私に委ねてください。助けて。あなたは誰？あなたは誰
Lingsha is potentially our first summoner character that I talked about back in my summoner meta video, linked below in the description. She utilizes a new Pokemon evolution named Fuyuan that operates separately from herself to assist the team. This Eevee wannabe is what makes Lingsha's kit unique and interesting, however, so there's diminishing returns on sarcasm for this cute critter since it's actually useful. Fuyuan is tied primarily to Lingsha's talent, Miss Dance Manifest. Every time Lingsha uses her skill, Fuyuan is summoned with an action count of 3. If this action count ever reaches 0, Fuyuan is banished to the Shadow Realm where it'll coexist with my dignity. Luckily, every time Lingsha uses her skill, Fuyuan will gain an additional 3 actions with a max of 5 actions total. This means Lingsha is a more skill point hungry unit than a unit like Aventurine, but it's fairly manageable much like Fuyuan. It's just something to keep in mind. While summoned and active, Fuyuan will launch attacks that deal fire damage based on a percentage of Lingsha's attack to all enemies. During this action, it will also randomly deal fire damage to a single enemy, prioritizing targets with toughness greater than 0 and fire type weakness. It will also dispel a debuff from all allies and restore a percentage of HP. This little pink cloud does it all. Fuyuan operates on its own separate turn order much like Numby, and also much like Numby can be advanced forward by Lingsha. Besides wanting to be the very best, like no one ever was, Lingsha is designed to be a super break support unit that not only heals and cleanses the team, but also debuffs the enemy to make them easier to break. This debuff is called Befog, and is applied to Lingsha's ultimate and technique. Befog increases break damage enemies take by a percentage based on trace level and lasts 2 turns. Let's talk about the abilities that inflict this debuff. Lingsha's ultimate, Dripping Miscape, inflicts Befog on all enemies, deals a percentage of Lingsha's attack and fire damage to all enemies, restores HP based on a percentage of her attack to all allies, and advances Fuyuan's action forward by a percentage. Truly the all-in-one jack-of-all-trades ability. Her technique, Wisps of Aurora, allows her to immediately summon Fuyuan at the start of the next battle, and inflicts Befog on all enemies for 2 turns. Lingsha's basic attack, Vote of Incense, deals a percentage of fire damage based on her attack, and so does her skill, Smoke and Splendor. The difference is the basic attack targets a single enemy, while the skill targets all enemies. Also, Lingsha's skill heals a percentage of HP based on attack to all allies, and advances forward Fuyuan's action a small amount. Like we talked about before, using Lingsha's skill also increases the number of Fuyuan's action count by 3. Now say it together, class, the best light cone for Lingsha is her signature light cone. We all know this. Its name is Scent Alone Stays True, and it increases the wearer's break effect by 60%. That's huge, and will probably also be best in slot for Gallagher as well. It also inflicts a debuff called Woe Free to the enemy, which increases the damage they take by 10%, plus an additional 8% if the user has 150% break effect or greater. Kind of OP, but only for 2 units currently. Alternatives you could use would be Echoes of the Coffin, Night of Fright, and Post-Op Conversation. Lingsha's best relic set would be 4-piece Passerby of Wandering Cloud to help with skill point generation to make sure Fuyuan doesn't get banished to the Nether. If you have E1 Firefly, or you feel confident in terms of your team's skill point usage, you can probably safely use an alternative to this. For now, your best alternative options are going to be 2-piece Messenger Traversing Hackerspace, coupled with either a Break Effect set or Passerby of Wandering Cloud for the increased healing. For planar sets, consider using Lushaka the Sunken Seas, Fleet of the Ageless, or Sprightly Von Walk depending on your needs. Lushaka is probably going to be your best option for the additional attack to boost all Lingsha's abilities, or Von Walk for the advance forward. For Lingsha's major traces, try to get her A6 Ember's Echo first if you have the ability to do so. This allows Fuyuan to immediately perform a follow-up attack when a teammate's HP falls to 60% or lower. Focus on getting A2 Vermilion Waft after that, then finally A4 Sylvan Smoke. Her minor traces are all great, boosting break effect, HP, and attack. The more guides I do, the more I think the devs want the magic ratio of balancing cost with effectiveness to be E2 on all the new units. Lingsha is no different. If you plan to get dupes, you'll want to aim to stop at E1 or E2. Both are good, but E2 is the best for the entire team. Her E1 increases her weakness break efficiency by 50% and reduces defense by 20% if the target is weakness broken. Her E2 increases all allies' break effect by 40% for 3 turns when Lingsha uses her ultimate. Lingsha's premium team is just her replacing Gallagher and Firefly's premium super break team. I haven't really talked about comparing her with Gallagher because I think it's a moot point. Lingsha is better than Gallagher, but if you have to spend money to get her and already have E6 Gallagher, then I'd just use Gallagher. It's a personal preference and not a skill-based preference, so it's really just up to you. Teams that work with Lingsha would be any team that also works for Super Break, such as subbing in Boot Heal for Firefly or Hamiko for Pure Fiction, etc. With Fuyin's attacks counting as follow-ups, you could also sub in Lingsha for Aventurine and follow-up teams. For free-to-play friendly teams, I'd suggest running Super Break replacing Firefly with Hunt March 7th, Shu Yi, or Himiko. You could also just run her with Gallagher and do double support Super Break as a meme. It could actually be good against Fire Weak enemies. We'll have to test it out. I really love Lingsha's kit design. She's an extremely strong support that'll fit well in any Super Break or follow-up team, and can hold her own with Aventurine, Fuxuan, and Huahua. Fuyin is also very cute, and if we get a buffer for summons, it'll enable a new meta that'll make Fuyin top tier. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, make sure you do your own due diligence. Leave a comment below to let me know if you'll be pulling for Lingsha. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.